I've been teaching AI to organizations for over a decade. Right now, the number one thing people keep asking me is, okay, Sadie, what's up with Gemini? And I get it. Every week there's a new update and it's hard to know what actually matters. So today I'm walking you through the new Gemini workflow and features that I'm personally using right now. So let's get into it. So you're going to go to gemini.google.com. Again, you can have a free account with this, or I like to use the pro account because I'm going to be using the best and latest and greatest models that are available. What we're going to do today is we are going to create gems. Essentially what gems are repeated processes that you use in Gemini all the time. So you're going to go to the left-hand side and to the hamburger stack, and you'll see an option below new chat and my stuff for gems. Now here you can see I already have created some gems, but we're just going to go ahead and click on the gems here and start building a new one. Again, you can see that there are gems that other people have already made, so you can start to tap into those. Everything from a code thinker to a recipe genie to different book recommendations. But what we want to do today is we want to create our own gem. So you're going to click on the button right here, new gem. From there, we're going to give our gem a name. I particularly like to give my gem a name like a persona. So depending on what I want to use my gem for, I'm going to give it that name. If it's a research assistant, if it's a social media manager, if it's an infographic creator, I want to make sure that it has a persona necessary so that I know why and when I'm using this. So I'm going to just call this one Research Assistant 2. And what this is going to do, it's going to find the latest research for me on consciousness. What I love about the gem creator though is, as you can see here, there's instructions that you can give it and it gives you an example for how detailed the instructions are. But if you're not good at writing instructions, what's even better is you can use AI to help write some of these instructions. So for this one, I'm just going to give it some simple instruction and say, I want you to find the latest research and any interesting articles that have come out on consciousness research. Now that was a really simple prompt. Again, I would probably want to have a much more rich and detailed prompt, but if you don't want to take the time to do that, you can just use the little pizzazz pencil and use Gemini to rewrite this prompt. Here we can see how much more detailed it is. Now look at what it says. We have everything from act is. So this is one of our favorite ways to write really good prompts, is to use the act is statement. And it says, act as a research assistant, specialize in the field of consciousness studies. Your primary goal is to use the latest scientific research, academic papers, and insightful articles regarding the nature, origins, and mechanisms of consciousness. Your purpose is to aggregate research, synthesize and summarize, get diverse perspective. So this is a great way to enhance your prompt. Again, make sure you go through and read this and edit any materials that may not apply. But instead of writing all of this from scratch or by hand, it's a really easy way to just start to augment your prompt. So this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Before I do that though, you can set up it with the tools that you want your gem to use. So here you have the option for default tools. I have the option to create an image, use Canvas, deep research, create videos, etc. Since this is my research assistant, I want to use the deep research tool as the default. So this is going to say whenever I encounter this gem and work with this gem, it's always going to use the deep research as the default. I'm going to go ahead and click save. And now I can go over to start a chat with my new research assistant. So right here, you can see that I'm not just in a normal chat, I'm in the Gem research assistant chat, and I'm going to ask it to just look and find if there's any new research that I should be aware of. All right, so now I'm going to use my research assistant and I'm just going to ask it to find the latest research for me and build a short report on the key findings. Again, you can see that it's already defaulting to use deep research because that was the tool I selected for this. And you can also see that it is using my custom gem of the research assistant. Again, I just said find the latest research. I didn't specify it, but you can tell it already is specifying based on what I prompted in my gem to look at different consciousness research. So I'm going to go ahead and start that research and I'll wait as it does its work. By the way, I send practical AI workflows in my newsletter every week. The ones you can actually put to use the same day. And if that sounds useful, the link is in the description. Yay! so it has completed, and you can see now I have my report here. So it talks about the different theoretical landscape and what's been going on, everything from 2023 to 2026. It talks about global neural and workspace theory, and it does a really nice job of breaking it down into what is new. Why I love this is because it allows me to not have to specify what I'm looking for in a research assistant over and over again. Now, the second workflow that I use quite frequently is to create a prompt based on an image. Before we create a gem, what I want to do is I want to use Gemini to create the prompt for me. So for example, I have this infographic right here that I really like the style of, but I don't know how to describe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload it here into Gemini, and I'm going to ask it to create a prompt based on the style of this infographic so that I can use it to recreate it. Okay, so I just said create a prompt for me describing the style of this infographic, and here it creates a very nice prompt for me. Again, I couldn't have described it this way because I don't have that skill to describe images, but if I ask Gemini to do it, it does a really good job. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this prompt here, and I'm going to create a gem so that it always creates my infographics in that style for me. So here we're going to go back to gems, and then we're going to go down into new gems. This one I'm going to call scientific infographic, and what I'm going to do is paste in my instructions from the previous prompt that I had. So again, I'm using Gemini to create the prompt, but then I'm using the gems so that I always have it saved in terms of the prompt that I want it to be. Now, for default tool on this, I want to make sure that I'm using create an image, so Nano Banana, and then I'm going to go ahead and save this. Now this is where it gets really, really fun. I'm going to take what I did with my research assistant gem and add it to my infographic gem. And the reason for this is because it did all the research in terms of the information that I need, and my infographic gem is going to visualize it really, really nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my research report. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to go back over to my new scientific infographic gem and start a chat. And so for this one, I'm just going to have it create an infographic based on this report. All right, and here we have it, my structural and functional matching of phenomenon experience, a review of consciousness research 2023 to 2026. Here we can see some of the different theories that were presented. We can also see that it has a similar kind of look and feel as the previous infographic that I shared. It just makes for like a really great way to start to break down not only your research reports, but also to create infographics in a style and format that you can reuse over and over again. Before I wrap this up, I want to be straightforward with you about where Gemini falls apart and where some gaps are. As you can see, I had the infographic here, and it had somewhat similar style, but not 100% match for match. Again, what's hard about some of these models is they are probabilistic, so you have a variation of how they'll turn out. They are not deterministic, so it's not black and white. You're always going to get the same answer. Same thing with the research report. Sometimes you need to narrow it down a little bit further, and most importantly, it just takes a little bit of back and forth. Again, these are helpful tools, but a knowledgeable person still has to be in the driver's seat, crafting and shaping how these tools work. So that's what I'm actually using inside Gemini right now. These are the workflows that save me time, the ones that surprise me, and the places for where it still needs work. So if you want me to keep actually breaking down what Gemini does, what's worth your time and attention, then be sure to check out my newsletter in the description as well. Practical AI advice every week. I'll see you there.